Order, and then obviously I've got to read my little legal introduction here, which basically is pursuant to Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2021. On June 16, 2022, Governor Baker signed into law an act extending certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state of emergency. This act includes an extension until March 31st, 2023 of the remote meeting provisions of his March 12, 2020 executive order. Therefore, this meeting will be conducted via remote means in accordance with this authorization. So with that, we will grant permission to Westwood Media to record or film live stream and videotape. And does anybody else want to do that? Okay. There are no other guests really besides us tonight, but I will welcome all of you and thank you for joining the meeting tonight. So let's start with our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
one
one
nation,
under God,
indivisible,
with liberty
and justice for all.
You know, it's fascinating. That is a, before we do the roll call, the Finance Commission has always done that. But you know what I noticed? None of the other boards in town do it. I just realized. So we'll maintain our tradition. We'll be patriotic. Lauren, how are you? Good to see you. All right. With that, I have to ask Victoria, would you please do the roll call?
John Kerry.
Here.
Jim.
Here.
Lauren.
Here.
Renee.
Here.
Mike.
Here.
George Hertz.
Here.
Angela.
Here.
Caitlin.
Here.
George Lahem.
here.
George Marone.
Present.
Christina.
Here.
Chris.
Here.
Sean.
Here.
And Alex.
Here.
Okay, thank you. This really is one of our shorter meetings because as I think our really heavy work will start actually fairly soon. A couple of things I want to just give you an update on. We are trying to use the Zoom webinar calendar invite. For those of you who, I think Sean requested it, I actually think it's very effective. When the invite comes on, you can accept, and then you can actually add it right on your calendar. And I clicked in through my calendar tonight, very, very easy. So please do that. It actually makes it much easier for us to know who's coming, and I appreciate it if you try and use it. At the select board's meeting last night, they opened up the town warrant, and the town warrant is open until the first meeting in January. And that's sort of a message to us that that's when our work really, really starts to begin. I know that Chris Pareda has already requested that his capital and economic development team, he's requested to get his meetings going. I think the fact that the capital budget, the 5-year capital plan is out, I think it's a good reason for Chris to get those meetings off and running. And I know that Lauren and I think Jim are on that committee with him. Let's see. I've been invited to attend what is known as the Budget Steering Committee, which will be meeting on December 21st. It's chaired by our new Assistant Town Administrator, Director of Finance, Stephanie McManus, and it has one select board member, one school committee member, me from the Finance and Warrant Commission, Superintendent of Schools, School Finance Director, and the Town Administrator. And what I'll do after that meeting, I'll put together a full report, and either I will get it out to you. I'd like to get it out to you. Maybe I'll summarize what I observed at the meeting, so you'll have some idea of what may be on the what the issues may be in the upcoming budget. So I think really that is it in terms of the chair's update. Is there any other comments, questions on what we're going to go through?
George, let me, today I received an email. I attended one of the Hale information sessions over the summer. So my name is on an email list. And today I got an email You may see it circling around town, or you may have received it yourself. I take what it says with a grain of salt. It does say, which caught my eye, that they met on December the 1st with the select board and various members of the town. That was after our November meeting, where they disclaimed having any knowledge of any meetings. But we'll find out what is going on. I also caught my eye on the fact that they claim that the town of Dover, excuse me, not Norwood, but Dover, is going to put something to a ballot in the fall of 2023, which, if I'm reading between the lines, suggests to me that they'll have something on the town meeting warrant in the spring, but that's not what the message says. So we'll keep our eye out for it. We'll keep everyone updated. But if you see that email, my view is take it with a grain of salt. They may be overselling their hand a little bit. And I wouldn't jump to the conclusion that our select board is not telling us everything they know.
Okay, did anybody else out of curiosity get that?
No, but I attended the meeting as well, and I thought, Chris, that my memory might be wrong, but I thought that they had said Dover had committed the money already at that time.
They did say that in the summer. I remember that also clearly.
But now it's going to a town vote at Dover. So I think we need some clarification.
Yeah, they definitely oversold their hand in the summer, because Dover has not committed the money. It may be the select board had committed to action, but they certainly haven't committed the money.
Well, it sounds like there's some information floating out there in the public domain. It will be a rather interesting issue for us to deal with. And I think, frankly, Chris, you want to start your meetings on looking at that 5-year capital plan, and what the town plans on spending will be some important background for us. So I hope we can get that meeting going sooner rather than later. Any other new business that people want to discuss? Okay, I guess the other thing I would like to do is first of all, I want to thank everybody for their flexibility in working with us on setting up the 5 subcommittees. We've done something a little different this year. In the past, we only had 2 committees that gave us reports, and that one, it was a much larger municipal committee, and it was the schools. This year we have 5 subcommittees, and each one of them we'd like them to produce a report, which we will publish in our Warrant article book. I think the advantage of this, it really gives everybody on FinCom a chance to work with town administration, town departments, and whether it's on the town side or on the school side. The other thing it does, I think it gives some of the smaller departments in town some visibility. Sometimes I think that some of these smaller departments, which probably perform very, very useful functions, always sort of get left behind. So one of my goals is to make sure they have a chance to get in front of the Finance and Warrant Commission for us just to meet them. And, sometimes you look at the wonderful work they do either for youth or at the senior center and the library. And I think it's nice for us to touch base with some of these people. So let's see, we'll see how the 5 committees works. At the end of the year, I will really ask you, I think Chris and I will ask you, give us your feedback. Let us know what worked. Let us know what didn't work. Okay. And if the committee likes the structure or wants to modify it, we will do that. But I also want to thank all of you for your flexibility. We've got 5 folks who have agreed to chair these. And so I just want to personally thank all of you. Get ready for, this will be a short meeting, but starting in January, that's when we really start to go to work. So really, that's pretty much it, unless anybody has any comments or questions on the committees.
George, not necessarily on the committees, but going into the budget, one of the things we were looking for last year, and we were told we were a little late to the game, was if we could get a copy of the actual budget, what was actually spent. Can we get a copy of that before we get into the budget?
You mean, let me just make sure I understand it, Jim. The actual end of year expenditures per department?
Correct.
Okay, all right. Yes, we can. That should be available because they have to close out all the books anyways, right?
Correct.
Okay, let me find out. I will find out. I will be at that, well, I won't wait. I'll send it. I'll put a call in to find out when we can get that, okay? And in what format.
Sure, thank you.
Okay.
George, forgive my ignorance here, but can you tell me what the municipal administration is going to do?
Are you talking about your group or are you
Yeah,
talking?
yeah, the subcommittee. Well,
Okay.
let me answer that, George.
Okay.
George L., one of the things that we hope that it will do is inform us as to how the town government is organized. I was taken aback at Nora Laughlin's presentation when she described her department. And I think that the other departments are reorganized from what I'm familiar with as well. So we know what the schools do. We know what the police, fire, and DPW does. But as far as the organization of other departments, I love to know. So one of the things that we want to know is how is all that other stuff organized? The other question that,
And let me make one comment, Chris. One thing is we do know they've combined all the human services, all the direct service agencies under something they're calling human services. So George, you can look at those. That'll be a group of direct service agencies. And then you'll have some of the other, I don't think the library's under there. The library will be separate. And then you're going to have, frankly, the other town administrative offices too.
So it's going to be like the HR director, the town clerk, the town administrator, the town treasurer, stuff like that?
And all the direct service agencies.
What does that mean, direct service agencies?
It's going to be like youth and family services. It's going to be the senior center. It's going to be, I think they've grouped, maybe it's going to be human resources. I mean, it's the first time, I think Chris Parade has raised a good point. You'll get a chance to look, and maybe if one of the key things is putting an organization chart for us together, because
I was just going to say, can you send us a listing of what it comprises of so we can actually have a clue so we know what to plan on?
Okay, we can send you, we can get you a list of what the departments are, how they've organized them. You'll have to come back and tell us.
Yeah.
No, we'll get you that list.
That way, because I don't want to be, I don't mind being partially useless, but I don't want to be completely useless. So if I could just have a clue of what departments it is, it'd be helpful.
Yep, okay, we'll get you that.
well, George, don't think you're totally useless, because one of the questions I had that we don't know the answer to is where is and maybe Jim knows the answer to this, where is the Affordable Housing Authority? Are they under the Community and Economic Development, or are they under some other part of the town government, or are they not part of the town government? I don't know, but if they're not part of Nora Laughlin's group, then they're part of what your subcommittee is going to look at. And I believe that's one of the issues that's going to come up, because if they want us to speak to more money going to Waha, then, Jim's raised it a couple of years in a row that they have never given us an accounting of what they've done with the money we've given them. So why should we give them any more?
Oh, and based on my feelings on the Tumble Breast project, I'm the best person to help with that.
There you go.
Okay, so I think it's a chance. Look, the good news is we're going to touch base with every department. And, George, as you go through your process of meeting with those department heads and the town administrator, and you get a clear picture of how it's organized, it's one of the things we'll evaluate at the end of the year. Did this process work? Did we overlap? Was there too much work on one committee and not enough work on the other? But everybody's got their assignments. So.
I'll follow Christina's lead.
Okay. All right. Any other questions? Because it's really not a lot. Yes, Sean.
My one question would just, and this is to help inform me as a new member, how were the relative sizes of the subcommittees determined? And was that done in reference to the anticipated volume of work that each subcommittee will be handling, or was there another decision behind that?
I think the largest committee is education. I think the biggest concern was what I heard from the superintendent was some very complex issues, some very difficult challenges this year. So I think there's going to be a lot of work, probably more work in that committee, I think, than a lot of, to be honest with you, I think that's going to be a heavy load. I really, really do. So we put 4 people on that. on purpose. Okay, the rest I think are not, shouldn't be. I'm not sure what the challenges will be. What we've heard about the fire department, I think we know there may be some issue with staffing. They have authorized the study to, I think the initial study for the new building. And as part of that, they're going to look at staffing. That's the one area, from what I recall, what's been presented to us, that may be an interesting area. I think the police, I think, are fine. I know Public Works is I think their biggest issue, honestly, at the end of the day, is the facilities they have to operate out of. That's more of a capital issue. Any other questions, comments?
Yeah, I had a quick one, George. Received an email from Jim O'Sullivan, but it just had a link and there was no context. Did anybody else get that? I just don't know if his account got hacked or if that's something we should.
That's weird. And you couldn't open it, or smart didn't want to open it?
I chose not to open it until I could validate that this was a legitimate email from him. So
can I make a
if nobody else got it, then I'll just delete it.
But why don't you call him? Give him a call, and just because let's find out. If it was a hack, he probably ought to know about it. If it's not, it may be something.
Okay, I'll take it up with him.
Yeah, and would you let me know, loop back to me, because it may be something he just wanted you to be aware of. But I'd like him to at least know if his account has been hacked. Okay.
Okay, and then the second quick question, as I indicated at the last meeting, I went through, at a cursory level, the budget items on the, the requests that were being made by the different departments, and I had some questions about some things. I know that they're going to be asking for approval. Is it January or February?
Well, we'll see the submissions then. We won't be making a recommendation probably until the early spring.
Oh, okay.
Is there a specific area if you have questions that are not in the group you're working on, you can get them to the subcommittee chair.
Okay, so the DPW, is that under municipal administration?
No, it's called the Public Safety Group. It's police, fire, and the DPW.
Oh, okay. All right. All right. Well, then since I'm on that subcommittee, I'll just take up those questions there. But I guess for the broader group and for you, George, my question is also a new member. So looking to understand, the depth of our involvement and what they're actually asking us. I've been through that, what's your role, document that was very helpful. But when they provide justification for a request at the line item level, like the example I'll use is the one that was on my mind. DPW wants to buy an $80,000 stump grinder, and their justification was, hey, every once in a while we cut down a tree and we have a few stumps that we need to grind. To me, that justification doesn't line up with an $80,000 line item when you can buy one for $5,000 or hire, outsource it to a landscaper, right? So here I'm trying to, I'm struggling with what's my role here. I don't want to tell him how to do his job, but also at the same time, I want to apply some financial responsibility to this.
Okay, in that example, and I don't really have the facts, one thing I do know, it's an appropriate question to ask. No answers. There's no inappropriate question as far as I'm concerned, as long as we do it respectfully and we understand, we've done our research to understand what the request is. Knowing Todd the way I do, he wouldn't put a request in unless he really could justify it. One example, but it's a very appropriate question to ask. I think it was last year he put a question for a second sweeper, and we really pushed and we asked him. And by the time we got done understanding all the new federal requirements he had to maintain clean storm drains and all this kind of stuff, we needed to own another piece of equipment, even though you don't see the street sweepers out there, 24/7. But no, that's a perfectly legitimate question. Okay. And as a new member, don't be shy about asking questions. Sometimes the buzzwords become a little overwhelming, but any question is important. You all bring very, very good perspectives to the table. So ask your questions, okay?
Sounds good.
Hey, George, I just want to make sure that we've paired up all of the new members with a buddy, a mentor. Lauren was great for me. Have we done that?
Mea culpa, that's something we have not done. So our new members, who are the new members this year? Sean, George, and I saw
John Kerry.
John Kerry. All right, well, let me talk with Chris Pareda. What we will do is we'll get a name out to you. We'll get somebody who is somebody, George, just like you asked, okay, here, you can work with that person, get together for coffee, ask them any questions, and the mentor program help facilitate it, okay? I actually will probably volunteer, well, I'll see if anybody else wants to do it, but if I enjoyed when I met with Alex, and we had a lot of fun, and he really pushed me on stuff he wanted to learn about, and I enjoyed it as much as I think it helped Alex. So, I'm glad to do it. Alex, what was your comment on that? Any comments on that when we had somebody senior meet with you?
I thought it was super helpful, George.
Okay.
I think there are definitely instances where new members, it can be intimidating to ask what you'd consider to be noob questions or dumb questions in this forum that's publicly recorded and available forever. So I think the offline chats are definitely welcome, and it was helpful for me.
Yeah, that's a very important point you made. 2 points. One is everything we do is public. I never thought about it being recorded, but it is recorded forever. So I think it's a very important point, Alex. So we will get a mentor out for each one of you. And thank you, Mr. Gay, for bringing that up. That's something we should have already, since we did it, we should have done it automatically. Good point. How about this? Anybody interested in being a mentor? Would you do me a favor and let Victoria know if you'd like to be a mentor? And then I'll go over them with Chris, and we'll get our mentor assignments out, okay? All right. Any other business that people want to discuss, either old or new, before we go to review the minutes? And George Maroon, we did amend the minutes to put that, to adjust that for you. I just wanted you to be aware of that, okay? And it also appeared in the minutes that we were going to adjust the minutes. Okay, any questions or comments on the minutes from the last meeting? Okay, can I get a motion to approve those?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of our November meeting.
May I get a second?
Second.
I will second.
Thank you. Victoria, would you please do the roll call?
John,
Abstain.
Jim,
I was late to the meeting, so I abstain.
Lauren,
Approve.
Renee,
Approve.
Mike,
Like Jim, I was late to the meeting. I abstain.
George Hertz,
Yes.
Angela,
Approve.
Caitlin,
Approve.
George Lahem,
I was not in attendance at the meeting, so I abstain.
George Maroon,
Yes.
Christina,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
Sean,
Yes.
and Alex.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions from the public or press? Has anybody seen any? I don't see any. Victoria, do you see any?
I don't
There
see any
was a
questions.
question, but it was spam, so I dismissed it.
Okay.
But-
All right. Before we adjourn to the adjournment for the roll call, I just want to wish you all a very, very happy holiday. Enjoy your Christmas or your Hanukkah, whatever you celebrate, or Kwanzaa. We want to be, I think we are becoming a much more diverse community in Westwood. So that's sort of nice to see. But have a wonderful, safe holiday, safe travels. I will get some notes out to you on that initial budget meeting I attend. We'll take care of the mentors, and I'll get Mr. Mahan a list of the departments we think is underneath his purview, although there may be some even, we'll see if we can get the list right. So can I get a motion to adjourn?
So
Motion to
moved.
adjourn.
May I get a second?
Second.
Okay, Victoria, would you please take the roll call?
John,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
Lauren,
Yes.
Renee,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
George Hertz,
Yes.
Angela,
Yes.
Caitlin,
Yes.
George Lahem,
Yes.
George Morone,
Yes.
Christina,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
Sean,
Yes.
and Alex.
Yes.
Remember this, people, in March and
Yeah.
when we would go 3 hours and 4 hours.
Yeah, half hour tonight, so we got some clock time, okay? Have a wonderful holiday, everybody, okay?
Fair enough.
You
Night.
too, and all
Thank
else.
you. Bye.